Hi guys, I hope you're doing well today. I'm going to tell you a bit more about the book I read and about some books that I think that you should read during this year. It's something that I really like to read, some non-fiction and some fictional books, and for 2021 I have a set of 4 books that I would like to give you, to present to you, so that maybe if you're looking for new books, for new readings, you can use this. This is a quite straightforward video, and the first book that I would like to present to you is Justice, What's the Right Thing to Do from Michael J. Sandel. So Michael Sandel is a professor in the United States, and his book is talking about some moral principles and also some examples of how we can apply these moral principles in real situations. For example, you have utilitarianism, who expects the society to try to optimize and to maximize the welfare, the happiness and the well-being of its society, of the people. For each chapter you have a new moral code, a new ethical principle, and then you see the upsides and the downsides to it, and then you see how Michael Sandel applies it to some real situations. This is really interesting because as a business student I think that many companies are doing a few things wrong, and these principles, these real moral codes, can help us to understand what we can do to improve the society and to improve the ethics of the companies and of the business world, and it also gives us a better perspective of the history of morality and of moral principles. So I really recommend you to read this book. It's quite easy to read. In English it's like 2 to 50 pages. Easy to read, a lot of examples, a few basic principles, and you get out of this read quite grown and with a lot of new ideas, and also with a better view of the justice, of how we can put firms and also people in front of justice, and what our justice system, on what codes is our justice system based on. Moreover, this book was mandatory to read for me for a course this semester, a business ethics course, and I will talk to you about it because it was really interesting, probably the best course of my semester, and it really helps to have a broader view of what ethics are and what morality is and how it can be applied in real situations. The second book that I would like to talk to you about is Make It Stick, which is a book about successful learning and about learning methods. So the book Make It Stick is a book from, I think from the Harvard Press. Yes, the Press of Harvard University. Yeah, so it was published by the Harvard Press, and it was written by a few scientists from the United States. This book is quite interesting because for a lot of students we have never really learned how to learn, and we make a lot of mistakes in our learning process. And right now it's the exams. It's the exams period, and I know and I see and I do many mistakes that are explained in the book. Moreover, it explains to us how our brain works, how our brain is able to retain information, and what are the good things and what are the bad things to do or to avoid in order to better learn and to be successful at the university, at whatever you do when you learn. So it starts by explaining to us why we think that we learn in a certain way and why it's wrong. It's based on psychology, on some research, on some researches as well, and then it explains to us what different types of learning there are and how we can implement them in our life. It then gets really interesting when it gives advices actually to students and to professionals on how to learn better depending on the situation. For example, a professional who is learning maybe a few things a week, who is reading maybe new books, will have a different learning type compared to a student whose job is to actually learn, who's continuously learning 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. And that's really interesting because there are things that, for example, a lot of students and myself too for a few exams, when you learn, you actually read what you have already read. For example, you are learning, a business course, and you read all the notes you have taken, and you reread them, and again, and the night before the exam, again, you read them. And that's really bad, and I'm sure you are aware of that, but that really doesn't help to learn better. And maybe you will have learned a few things for the exam, but then you will forget everything in a week or so. And this book explains why and how you can actually have better learning methods that don't really take much more time. So I think that this book is really key for all the university students out there, and even for the lifelong learners as well. The third book I would like to talk to you about is Factfulness. So Factfulness, as you see, I have used it, and it's probably one of my favorite non-fiction book. On the cover it's written, Factfulness, the stress-reducing habit of only carrying opinions for which you have strong supporting facts. So as you see, it's a book about understanding what facts are and how you can be mistaken because of some opinions that you have that aren't based on facts. One of the main things that I have learned in this book is that you have to create and to build your opinions on facts, and not only on the news that you see that may not be so much factual, and also on some other people's opinions. For example, there is a saying that explains that it was better in the good old days. And this is one of the first chapters in the book that explains that actually nowadays, so this book was written before the coronavirus pandemic, so that's why, but that actually nowadays is the best period to be alive. There has never been such a great time to be alive as of today. For example, you take every metric, which can be poverty, number of unemployment, number of parentless children, every metric, socio-economical metric that you can find, and you will see for pretty much all of them that it is better today than a few years ago, and it's going in the right direction. So this is a good thing to actually know, because it's not so obvious. If you watch the news, you see only the negative, but there is positive as well. As I've just said, of course, this was written before the COVID pandemic, so I guess that a few things changed this year, but the main explanation and the main takeaway of this book is to build your opinions on facts. And this book gives you a few facts as well to start to build your opinions on maybe politics, on socio-economical behavior, on whatever. Moreover, this book was written by a great scientist, Hans Rosling. Maybe you do not know him. He died unfortunately in 2017, but he's really an inspiration, and I will definitely make a video on him and on his few projects. So, if you have to choose one book out of the 4 that I present to you to read, take this one. This is the best book that you can find. So last book that I want to present to you is The Order of Time by Carlo Rovelli. it's a bit different from the others, but it's such a great book as well. Carlo Rovelli is an Italian physicist, a theoretical physicist, and this book is actually about physics and about time. And I know that many of you may not be so much interested in physics, but this is quite easy to read actually and easy to understand. This is more of a philosophical book about what is time, how we understand time now with all the modern physics, and when time started, which is a weird question to ask, but which has to be asked and which has an answer actually. And moreover, also a few things about life and death and all of that. So I think that this book actually can help you reflect on a few things about life, about what you want to do in life, and also it's just a great book about the mystery of time. Maybe you're not interested in that, but I think as a challenge as well, it can be a cool thing to read. So I really recommend this book to you. I think it's quite easy to get lost in everyday life, also in such a complicated period as 2020 and early 2021. So I think it's good to take a step back and to try to reflect on our place maybe on Earth and in the society, and to try also to understand and to be aware of how big the universe is. For me at least, these philosophical questions are really interesting, and I think that time is just fascinating. Take a look at it. It's really not expensive. It's a small book that costs maybe 10 Swiss francs, $10, and it could be good. I think that not many of you are passionate about physics, but it would be really an interesting step out of your comfort zone. So take a look at it, and thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you found new examples and new ideas for books to read in 2021. Don't hesitate to tell me if you have read any of these books, and also if you have recommendations for me. I will do maybe a second video in a few months for a few new books, and also for non-fictional books. No, also for fictional books. These are non-fictional, yeah. So take care, thank you, and see you soon. Bye bye.